Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Thanks for coming by and hanging out with me for a little while. This video today, gonna talk about some Lineage Logistics. I'm talking about the cold storage warehouse costing me $2,300 because they can't get their act together. This is nothing new with Lineage. You guys that are in the reefer game, to me, probably the worst cold storage is probably the process of how they run it. But I want to talk about this load that I lost, and I want to talk about Lineage, and then I want to talk about, is Lineage running a scam here? Let me talk to you and explain my theories here. I got a lot of time in this truck riding down the road, and, you know, I like to think about things outside of the box, so I'll give you my thoughts on that. Before we get to the video, if you could, hit that thumbs up button. Think about subscribing to the channel. Come back and join me for a live show sometime. I enjoy doing those with everybody hanging out. And it's a lot of fun, I think. So check that out. Check out the description down below for lots of cool stuff. Try to help everybody out. That's what this channel is, a community of truckers trying to help each other. And I appreciate everybody that comes by and hangs out with me here at the channel. So first, let's talk about this load. $2,300 from University Park, Illinois to Minnesota. You know, southeast Minneapolis or St. Paul area. So around by the airport, Eagan, Minnesota is where it was going. So that's about 450 miles. The load paid $2,300. It was a two-stopper. I had to make one little quick stop there in Wisconsin, and then I was going to run over and make my delivery in Minnesota. And actually, now that I think about it, it wasn't Eagan. I was going to Hopkins. That's where the last stop was. Sorry, I misspoke there. So it was going to be a super simple load. It was supposed to pick up on a Thursday afternoon. I had a 6 p.m. appointment. Now they needed to load me because I had to make my first stop in Wisconsin at 4 a.m. and then I had a 9 a.m. over in Hopkins to finish out the load. So it was basically going to be probably, you know, say you give Hopkins 3 hours to unload. So 6 p.m. was my appointment pickup, 9 p.m. delivery at Hopkins. Let's say it stretched to noon. I was going to make about $2,300 gross revenue in about 18 hours. This was my load home. I'd already booked a load for the following Monday. I was going to take off the weekend. So what happened was I sat there and let me explain the load to you real quick. What happened was this was two separate deliveries. These deliveries had nothing to do with each other. They were totally different products. They were putting them on the same trailer because they thought they could wedge it all in there with a shoehorn and, you know, get it delivered on the way. So the one in Wisconsin delivered on the way. When they first called me about the load, they said, you know, can you do a load that weighs 45,300 pounds or something like that? I said, I don't want to, but I could possibly scale that, but I don't want to, because anytime I get a load like that, I know if they don't load it perfectly, you know, I'm going to be right at 80,000 gross. And if they don't load that perfectly, we're going to have problems. So I said, you know, I'll do 44,000, maybe 44,500. So I said, but I'm not going over there unless I get a new rate con that says, so I got a new rate con from the broker that said 44,000 pounds. I ran over there. Now the problem was, so I get there at 6 o'clock, you know, it's cold storage. Typically appointments are kind of like, they're vague and it never works to your advantage. It's always like, you know, they put me in a door at like 8 o'clock. I'd already been there 2 hours. You know, I was like in there bugging them about a door. So they put me in a door about 8 o'clock. About 3 hours later, they you know, they're loaded. And I'm like, awesome. I go in to get the paperwork because I'm like, hey, I got a green light out there. You know, just trying to check what's going on because, like, if I leave, like, real soon, I can still make that first delivery. And you know, the first delivery was kind of at a smaller food service place that I deliver to a lot. I know they'll work with me if I show up just a little bit late, but I do have to be there before like 6 a.m. because at 6 a.m. they start loading their trucks for their, you know, morning deliveries. So, you know, I'm pushing it at this point. And I go in, the guy says, well, hey, we can't verify the count. Our count is off. Come to find out, later on, I figured out what was going on. So the guy says, you know, we're going to have to pull the load and count it again and reload it. I'm like, well, I'm probably going to be late for the first delivery, and, you know, we're pushing it because it took you 3 hours. You know, we're already like 11 o'clock at night, probably somewhere in that ballpark, I think. And I'm like, you know, you pull that, you reload it, it's 2 in the morning. I'm probably not going to make the Wisconsin delivery. So they come to find out what it was. It wasn't they couldn't verify the count. What happened was they couldn't get it all wedged in there, and they were having to unload it, and they were going to take like 4, you know, shorter pallets and turn them into 3 really tall pallets. That because they were running out, they didn't have enough room to get everything on there, so they were trying to double stack everything, and, you know, like, you know, take pallets and bust them apart, make different pallets out of them. They were trying everything. So I'm like, well, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. So they unload the trailer, they restack it, they load it again at about 1 a.m. Give me a call. I think, oh, thank goodness, this is over with. I can finally leave here and possibly get this first stop off and then get to, you know, Unify over there in Hopkins, Minnesota. Now, you guys know, you miss an appointment at a major grocery warehouse, it could be 3 or 4 days before you reschedule. And the load I had booked in Minnesota was for the following Monday was an exceptional load. You know, it's honestly, it's like the second highest paying load I've ever booked, and it was like half the miles of what the previous one that was really high was. So, you know, just an amazing rate. You know, we're talking like $5 a mile on that load. And I said, well, I've got to get there to get that. So, you know, and that load's Monday. So I said, if we can't make this unified delivery, what's going to happen is I'm going to be screwed out of that Monday load. And honestly, this load, this you know, $2,300 overnight load was a good load. It would have made my week a heck of a lot better. But you can't disappoint your customers. You know what I mean? These loads out of Minnesota are the ones that, you know, that's my bread and butter. I can't be disappointing these people over a $2,300 load that Lineage can't get together, you know? So, you know, loaded it the second time, called me, said, hey, account's off again, which they're lying to me at this point. They're trying to restack this and get everything in there. And apparently they couldn't get it all in there even the second time they loaded it. So, third time, guy calls me and says, well, we're going to have the quality guy come over here and count it himself because we can't verify the count on it. I was like, at this point, guys, I said, I don't even know if I want you to, like, reload it. You know, I said, pull it off, count it. I'm going to call the broker. I called the broker, got an after hours situation there at the brokerage. At this point, I'm not willing to lose a good customer load over this BS. So I told them, unload it, count it, I'll get a hold of the broker. I got the after hours people at the brokerage, so I had to wait till 7 a.m. for the actual broker to come in. And I talked to him about it, and I said, at this point, I've been here for 13 hours. I prefer them just take their freight off my trailer, and I'll be on my way. And he was like, oh man, like, I had to pay a lot of money to get you to take this overnight. And I was like, yeah, and the contract's been broken at this point, because here's the deal. First 2 hours are free, and then they only pay 6 hours of detention at $40 an hour. I said, I've been sitting here for 13 hours, so of the 8 hours, I'm in it 5 hours for free at this point. You're not paying me to sit here at this point. Contract broken as far as I'm concerned. So finally he called around, this, that, and the other. He called down, he talked to them about it, make sure, I guess, I wasn't telling lies on them or something. And yeah, they said, yeah, we got him reloaded, but our count ain't right. So in the meantime, while they're doing all this, they've unloaded it, counted it, and now they've reloaded it. So now it's the third time they've loaded this freight on this trailer. Finally, I go inside. The guy's literally stapling the paperwork, getting ready to hand it to me. The broker calls me back and he says, yeah, it's your call at this point. He said, I called SuperVal, I called Unify, and the deal is they can't unload you till Tuesday. I said, all right, that's it then. They got to pull it off because I'm not sitting on a $2,300 load for what now is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, get unloaded Tuesday. I'm like, no. That ain't happening. So I tell the guy at the warehouse, I said, hey, the guy fixing to hand me the paperwork, I said, hey, I'm on the phone with a broker right there at the window. And I said, hey, the broker just gave me the go ahead on, he's fine with it, me telling y'all to pull this load off this trailer. And the guy's like, well, we done got you loaded now. I'm like, that don't mean nothing to me, man. I said, I can't sit. I'm not a warehouse. I don't hold freight for 5 days for $2,300. It don't work like that. And then the guy at the warehouse got all attitude with me. Very, very unprofessional crew they got over there at Lineage, by the way, I think. The guy tries to start an argument with me. And he's like, well, you got to pay $18 a pallet to pull that off. And we got 40 or 50 pallets on there. And so what's the total price, dog? And he says, $919 to unload that trailer. And I said, hey, I don't pay to unload trailers. I said, let me make a call and somebody will call you and y'all can work that out. So I called the broker back. He literally laughed out loud at this guy. And he said, all right, let me call him. He called him. Warehouse supervisor came down out of the office and said, yeah, this guy's been here for 15 hours, guys. Unload it. Like, we've screwed this up. Like, this is on us. And I'm like, exactly, unload this. So I did sit there for 4 more hours for him to unload it. They got her unloaded at noon for me. So I sat there for 18 hours for nothing, except for them to make a complete mess of my trailer, which I just had washed out. So thanks, Lineage. Gotta be the worst. You guys let me know down in the description what you think is the worst cold storage warehouse. I'm not talking about like customers, I'm talking about warehousing. Well, actually, heck, put them in there too. Put everybody on blast if they don't do business right. I don't care. So anyway, so my theory is, my new dream job is to be the CEO of Lineage Logistics. Because apparently, you can screw that up as bad as humanly possible, as bad as you can conceive doing a job. You can do it over at Lineage and probably make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I would imagine the CEO over there probably makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And that fish is rotting from the head down. So yeah, a fish rots from the head down. It's like every Lineage I go to is horribly managed, and for me, that has to start at the top. It really does. It's consistently bad. I was at the one over in Rochelle, Illinois for 11 hours a couple months ago. They have cold storage rail cars there that they couldn't get people to load. Like, they can't get enough employees, and I'm like, well, obviously your business model's broken if you can't get enough employees, because you're not paying enough, because Tyson across the street seems to have plenty of employees over there. Now will they have them forever? I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, every Lineage is understaffed, which obviously means they got problems. So here's my theory on why I think Lineage is a scam for truck drivers. What I think is going on, okay, if you're Lineage, your business is capacity. Your business is storage space. So how do you make more storage space without building more warehouses or buying more warehouses? You store that freight somewhere else, maybe on a refrigerated truck. Yes, sir, that's what I think's going on. I think what they're doing is, I think they're making deals with these grocery warehouses to say, hey, here's the deal. We need your freight out of our warehouse. I think the grocery warehouses say we ain't got room for it yet. And so they say, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll dispatch a truck on this load, and then what's going to happen is the guy's going to show up. We'll take so long to load him that he will miss his appointment time and then have to reschedule. And then in the process of rescheduling, that buys us a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, maybe 5, 6 days of free storage on a truck. I think that's what's going on, because it could possibly be cheaper to pay you $150 a day layover than it is to keep that product in a warehouse somewhere. I mean, just a thought. That's kind of what I think's going on with Lineage. I'm going to tell you right now, Lineage Rochelle, Lineage University Park, both of those, if they show up on a rate con, like whenever I book a load out of Chicago now, if the broker says it's Chicago, I'm going to ask them. If it's a frozen food load, if it's negative 10 degrees, because that's what Lineage is. Lineage is a frozen food storage. Almost every load there going in is negative 10. Almost every load's coming out. I'm not saying they all are, but from now on, if I get a load out of Chicago that says, negative 10 degrees, I'm going to ask the broker, are we talking Chicago or are we talking University Park? Because if we're talking University Park, it ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening. And if I do haul that load, I'm going to ask for an extra $500 on the best rate I can get them. I'm going to negotiate the rate up, and then when they get to their hurt, their pain threshold, I'm going to request 500 more. And if they won't do it, I'm going to say I'm not messing with it, because I'm like not having good luck with Lineage here lately, and I'm just going to explain that to them. If you want me to go do business where they can't understand time is money, then I'm going to have to hit you for the money up front. That's just how it's going to be. And, the way I look at it, once we get to a point to where I'm not getting detention pay anymore, the contract is null and void, in my opinion. I'm not a slave. I don't do things for free. My favorite saying in business, I've been saying this for 10 years, got it from Joe Dirt. When Uniself gets into the trucking business, you'll get it for free. But until then, you go through me, and I sure as hell ain't free. So, and I ain't cheap either, But that's how I look at it. If you want to be a broker and you want to get them Lineage loads, be prepared to get taxed, because I'm gonna come for that money right up front. And honestly, University Park and Rochelle, I may just never do business there again. I'm like 0 for 5 on those places. So you guys let me know down in the description how you feel about that. Do you think possibly Lineage is scamming drivers on free storage, or at least cut rate storage? Let me know what you think, guys. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, give me that thumbs up, please, and think about subscribing to the channel. Take care of each other. Later.